Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another pre-market live stream today. Thank you guys again for tuning in as always. Do appreciate that. So there's a couple things to look at this morning that I'm looking at. Something I'm going to mention to you guys to be careful of, and I'm sure some of you will be able to figure out which stock that is. That's going to be BPTH. So BPTH was on the watch list yesterday for a long. Today it's more or less on the watch list to basically tell people to be careful trading it. This is going to be a similar situation to MBOT. If you guys remember MBOT, that was the penny stock that ran from, I don't know, maybe $2 to $18, I think it was. And then it dropped and lost 50% of its value within 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So, over the course of 2 days, MBOT goes from like $1 to 18, right? And then so think about it, over the course of 2 days, MBOT went from like $2 to $18, right? So 2 days, 2 to 18. And then within 4 or 5 minutes, it went from 18 to 9. That is the type of risk that is involved when trading mega runners and super runners. You have to know when you probably shouldn't be trading it, okay? So if you're not familiar, definitely go back and look at the chart of MBOT. You'll probably learn quite a bit from that. So today, BPTH is one we're just going to talk about in regards to, being safe as far as trading it. All right, so let's start looking at some things here. First, I will touch on HIIQ. HIIQ is an earnings play that I'm going to be watching for a long bias trade. Their earnings report seemed to be pretty good. Okay, a 180-day chart shows that it dropped out. Nice bounce, kind of a dip here. So looking for this to kind of push back up to this previous high, or at least do this gap fill up to about 42 or 43. So looking for 42, 43 to 45 on HIIQ today would be pretty nice. It looks like on its previous earnings days, it moves about $2 to $3 a share. So you're going to be watching it carefully. Let me go to the intraday chart here. 1 second. That's not intraday. So far the chart looks pretty good. Move up, drop down, kind of holding pre-market. So do like HIIQ right now for a long bias trade. So I'm going to be watching that. Okay. On to the next one, which is Kroger. So you can see Kroger isn't having the best day here as well. Dropped out on earnings, fading out. If you look at the yearly chart, you will come to find that $25, $26, this kind of area is a support from this breakout a while ago. Come in today, it's broken that support, but you can see it's kind of getting bought up too, where it's trailing off, but there's a lot of green in there too. So it seems like people might be buying up the low of that move a little bit. So now that it's broken all this support, let me show you. See, it's dropped out below those levels. Wait, what is it down to? Let me look at that again. 25. So it's all the way down to basically 25, which is right there. So to me, Kroger is actually very oversold into a big demand zone. Like this whole zone, you can see buy, move up, buy, move up. Right there, this is a demand zone for sure. So I would say that Kroger's probably entering into a buy level, maybe even for a swing trade as well. So would definitely keep Kroger on watch for the next couple days after its earnings report to maybe see if you can pick up something on a swing trade. Now over to BPTH. Okay, BPTH. So you can see from $4 all the way to $16. So it's up about $12 a share from the start of yesterday. We mentioned to keep this on the watch list yesterday. All right, it's got a 200 moving average here at $17. $17.40 is where the 200 moving average rests on BPTH. So that should be a nice resistance level that we could see it hit. Am I going to trade this today? Probably not. There might be some moves higher, but the risk is just too great for me to trade this. I don't want to trade it because something like this can happen. Let's go back over and look at MBOT so you guys can get a good reference. So here's a good reference for you guys, MBOT, ready? So stock went nuts, and then look at boom, 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 right? So that's the type of sell-off you can find yourself in on BPTH. And I don't want to find myself in a sell-off like that. So I'll probably stay away from BPTH. Oh, somebody's looking at SEEL, are we? Yep, we looked at that one this morning. I will take a quick look at the market for you guys. So SEEL, I can only imagine why someone would be looking at this. So yes, SEEL is a penny stock that started spiking earlier this morning. I believe there's some news too. Let's see. Yeah, something about a therapeutics license. Okay, so there is some news on it. But if you look at the chart here, SEEL has been on a steady downtrend. It is known to have these little pops in here. So today could be one of those little pop days, but it is a downtrending stock, which most likely means that after it pushes up, it's going to resume back into that downtrend. So for me today, I was thinking about trading it, but probably not going to be trading it. Knowing what it usually does, I wouldn't be surprised if SEEL falls right back into its downtrend. If you look at, let's see if we do a 20-day chart. What about 180-day? Yeah, if you go to a 180-day chart, it doesn't really appear that this has much potential, right? Because if it's going to spike, it might spike up to well, actually, no, I guess it does. It could spike all the way back up to 389, which would be a big push. But yeah, its first resistance level in this downtrend would be right about 352. So it's possible SEEL moves up, and if it does, maybe to 350, so $1 per share move, maybe. Right now, you're going to want to do this. You're going to draw a trend line from high down to this low, and then from this one across that guy. And if it breaks this wedge to the downside, it's not looking good. If it breaks to the upside, it might be looking good. Okay. HMNY, I want to look at that just because I haven't seen it in a while. Is HMNY a pump and dump? No, pump and dumps don't exist anymore. Actually, that's pump and dumps don't actually exist really anymore. But we still use that terminology. But yeah, HMNY. I mean, you don't want to trade HMNY. I mean, bottom line, you just don't want to trade it. Okay. If you look at HMNY. It was never $9,714. This was actually $47, $44. And when this went through its big phase, we were trading this. And then we said, hey, guys, watch out. This is going to be the big short. It's probably going to come back down to $2. We called a short from 47 to 2, and the stock's now at 30 cents or 3 cents or whatever. So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, you don't want to trade HMNY. Yeah, HMNY is an OTC stock anyways these days. No, probably not really worth it for shorting. Anyway, so those are all the stocks I was looking at. So yeah, BPTH, going back to this just real quick. If anybody's tuning in just now, be very careful with the stock. There's really no point to even trading it, right? So, I mean, the move happened, right? This was the move. The move pretty much happened. So the risk is too high on that. I don't really see myself trading that today. CIFS I'll look at because over the past couple days it was moving okay. If it's still holding up, yeah, so it's still holding, which means CIFS has a chance to move higher. All right, it's in a consolidation. So take a trend line, draw the trend line down like so. It's holding support. If this breaks to the upside, we might get a pop. So CIFS isn't actually bad. That's actually something that is definitely worth watching for a push even today. So keep CIFS on watch for a push today. To the gentleman who asked me to look at that, where'd you go? Mr. Su, thank you, because that is actually a pretty good looking stock as of right now. So congratulations on recognizing the potential there on your own. So good job on that. Let's see. ALT, I did look at ALT this morning. ALT was moving up. So as I discussed earlier, well, actually not with you guys, but ALT is something right here. You see this? This is the high from after hours. Okay, the high from after hours, look at where all the volume's at. All the volume is right here, which is on the breakout of the previous high. So your support level should be right about here at 391. If it breaks 391, it's probably going to be a turd. If it holds above 391, then it has an opportunity to actually move higher. So it's worth watching for right now. But ALT, all said and done, really is a junker stock, which means it's probably not anything you want to hold long-term or invest in. But the daily chart, or shall I say the 4-hour chart, looks pretty good with this curl up and break over the 200 EMA here. Not bad. So this does have some potential. We were watching it. Not getting too excited about it right now. Pre-market, it's just kind of trailing off into support. So we're going to see what it does when market opens. Hell yeah, East Africa. That's what I'm talking about. Daniel, so every once in a while I use every once in a while I use limit orders, every once in a while I'll use stops. Most of the time I'll use a market order. It's just my preference of trading. If you read up on it, you're going to hear that market orders are like the devil and there's nothing worse than a market order. And yeah, to a certain extent, they're not the greatest. And to a certain extent, limit orders aren't the greatest. So there's a bunch of reasons why. If you're using big size, it's really hard to get filled entirely your size when you're using limit orders because usually there's no seller that wants to fill you with all your shares. So then somebody else will jump your order, which means then you don't even get filled at all. So there's a lot of reasons as to why I trade the way I trade specifically. Sometimes I use stops. A lot of my stops are going to be mental. I can say that by using a mental stop loss, I've taken a bigger loss from things like slippage, but that's a whole nother story in itself. So a ton of reasons, right? But yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of touches a little bit on that. Yes, Barry, I am from Michigan. GTXI, yeah, GTXI was a penny stock this morning that shot straight up, then it kind of pulled back, probably around to the VWAP, kind of breaking down some more. Yeah, usually when stocks just shoot straight like this and then they roll down, they usually don't perform very well on the day. They usually kind of just come right back down. So, it's something to maybe watch, but don't get super excited about just yet. Yeah, Sydney, you can miss a buy. You can miss buy. And so let me touch on that, right? Because now I think some people are going to have the wrong out view on that. So let me kind of explain something here. So as a day trader looking to make, fast trades, of course, and let's say I'm trying to get in 5,000 shares. Okay, if I put an order in for 5,000 shares, okay, think about this, right? And it just is what it is, right? It just is what it is. But imagine trying to do a limit order for 5,000 shares in a stock, right? You're a trader. Let's say you're looking at the same stock as me, okay? And I want to buy 5,000 shares, and I'm going to do a limit order, okay? The limit order means that when somebody else wants to sell me 5,000 shares at my desired price, I will be filled those 5,000 shares. That's what you have to understand. When I put in a limit order, I'm saying I want this many shares at this price, and I am going to have to wait for somebody else that is willing to sell me that amount of shares at this price to sell them to me. So there's never a guaranteed fill on a limit order because it's all based on somebody else willing to basically give you shares at that price. Secondly, if I am trading the same stock as you and I'm thinking about doing a 5,000 share order, that's a pretty big order, right? You could imagine or assume that if someone's coming in and buying 5,000 shares, that the stock might be moving up. He might be seeing something I don't, or just in general, his 5,000 share order might help move the price and get this thing moving. So if you see somebody coming in with a 5,000 share order, then another 5,000 share order, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait for them to get filled and then get in, or are you going to try and get in before them, before the price moves? That's what's going to happen. So when I go in 5,000 shares, more often than not, a lot of times what will happen is somebody's going to jump my order because they see me come in. And then what I have to do is I would have to jump their order so that I can get filled before them. And then you see what's happening? You're just increasing the share price you're trying to buy at rather than trying to get your original fill, right? So I could keep jumping the ladder. Yeah. Jesus Christ, this thing is stupid sometimes. Anyways, I thought I turned off the voice control on it, but video goes. But anyways, I'll keep explaining. I still got to get used to this GoPro. But, with the ladder, if you keep jumping up orders, right? You're going to be screwing up the price you want to get filled at. So let's say I go with the limit order and I jump up 5 cents to get filled. If I would have done a market order, I basically would have been getting the same fill anyway. So it's kind of an evil necessity that you have to determine if it works well for you or not, okay? Daniel, Christopher, so you have to understand what a market maker is to understand market orders. When you're newer to trading, you guys and everybody thinks that market orders are a way of you getting ripped off, and it actually has nothing to do with you getting, I mean, yeah, you're getting bent over to a certain extent, of course, but if you don't understand market orders, yeah, you really don't, necessarily want to be using them. When you fully understand what a market order is and what the job of the market maker is, then market orders, you really understand how they work. But yeah, when you do a market order, you're going to get filled at a price in between the bid and the ask spread. Okay. I could use a DSLR camera, but that one's a pain in the ass to use. The GoPro works perfect, but I don't know why it turns off on its own. But it doesn't surprise me because if you look at GoPro stock, their stock price is very low because they're a piece of shit company, as are their products, apparently. So maybe if they tune into my live stream, they can get some insight on how they can better develop their products, and then it might help their share price. And then, hey, I might even promote their stock to help increase buyers. But hey, that's up to them. Anywho, so guys, those are all the stocks. I don't know why the camera shut off, but it's all good. So I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for another stream as always. And guys, take care. Stay green on the day. Don't try and force anything. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Take care.